Hello, lovelies. My name's Melissa. I'm an energy and embodiment facilitator. How are you today? So I haven't done a live in a little bit, and I just wanted to show up here. And one of the things that I've been noticing, which the past couple of days for me, and I don't know how it's been feeling for you, I was definitely feeling a lot of resistance. I noticed how, I was a little more prone to being reactive. I was just feeling this energy or momentum within me that's like telling me like, oh, I need to hurry. I need to do this and that, which is, I feel like a lot of mothers can relate to that. But, for someone who does this work, I'm like, wow, it feels very aggressive the past couple of days. And so it's been an interesting experience, but I always know that everything that I experience, that I'm creating, and that every moment where I feel the discomfort, or we can call it triggers or whatever it is, it's meant for me. That thing was already in me, and this experience was pulling that out through me to reveal itself, to let me know like, hey, there's something that needs to be addressed. Hey, we need acknowledgement, meaning my body, and so essentially just bringing me back to my house, to my home. And so it's such I say it so all the time, how powerful this work is, how, I can't even put any amount of number to the work that I've done for myself and the work that I offer. And it really trumps anything externally, anything that the external can give you, because there's so much literal freedom in your body when you know your own house. When you are not afraid to feel into your own vessel, your own home, and all of it and all that it carries and houses, right? And because our bodies are these vessels that we experience life through, yeah, there's gonna be some crap in there that we need to clean up, and that's normal. Like I notice, and I'm working on this, like the language that we use to describe this self-discovery journey, like healing or fixing, or even the words that we think that don't really matter much, how they do have this subtle influence. And that's one of the things that I'm learning too. Subtle energy, subtle words, things that we think that are not that small actually contribute so much in how we continue to create life and how we're influenced. And so I try to speak from more of a neutral ground, because nothing is good or bad. Everything is here for you, for me. Feeling triggered, feeling lower energy, having body issues. There's nothing wrong with you. There's nothing to be fixed. It's really about, again, coming back to your home and just doing the due diligence of reconnecting, feeling into your body. Because what I know for sure, so I have a background in personal training. So I used to train people. I did a little bit of nutrition. I went through all the fad diets. I've done yoga. I taught yoga, but like I've done everything, and I've read up on so much around how to just, regulate the body and its functions, and how to keep yourself physically healthy, and how that does relate to your mindset. But in going through all of that, and now in this place, I realize it's never about the exercise. It's never about the food you eat or the food choices you make. It's never about what medicine or vitamin or whatever. It's never about the external. It's really about your internal world. We forget how massively powerful our internal world is, because it's the very thing that allows us to experience life. So if it's not about the external, then what is it? It's the intention, the decisions and the choices that you make, why you make them. Is it out of fear, or is it out of love? Or if not love, like curiosity of wanting to know yourself more deeply, wanting to know your body more deeply. And so that's really how you reclaim your seat as the creator of your life, as the artist of your life. Now, I wanted to talk about the awareness that you start to build, or that you need in order to actually, take all of the tools and the processes within the spiritual realm or the industry, right? To actually take and use these tools in a way that will serve you, and not, again, get lost or conform into another idea that you need to be this way, or that you need to eat certain foods, or that you need to blah, 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 right? We're all here to experience life. We are all so unique and diverse in how we look, our body shape, the things that we like, the things that we're good at, the things that we're not good at. And so the more that we can appreciate that, the more that we can actually then discover who we are. And who we are is one whole with God, but we are individuations, fractal beings of God that hold unique gifts, unique ideas and things that we were meant to bring forth into this life, to feed into the diverse ecosystem of humanity, of life, right? And that becomes more powerful versus everyone trying to eat and behave and live a certain way, and living in a sense like this puritanical life where everyone's conforming, right? We need to give and breathe room and space for us to expand, to become these multidimensional beings. And to do that, you can't look to other people to take your power back. It's all in your body. And the train's going by as I speak. And how do you actually, harness this power? How do you actually become aware in a way where you can then take that information and do something with it? Well, first of all, just know that you have a guidance system. It is right in your body. Your emotions, yes, my friends, your emotions is literally your unique and personal guidance system through creating the life that you desire. Your emotions, again, I'm going to repeat this because it's really important. Your emotions are, or is, your personal guidance system to live in alignment with the truth of who you are. Now, because we've been so disconnected from our emotions, and the way we view our emotions is so distorted, to simply say, oh, I'm happy, so this must mean it, that becomes a little problematic, right? It might cause more distortion, because when you're operating from a place of your emotions, are viewed a certain way, and you view your emotions and relate that or measure that to your external reality, that becomes then more distortion and more disconnection. You have to then be able to feel into your own emotions, and if you don't understand it, just feel into it for yourself without needing the external to reference, right? This is where you start. This is where we can then untether from this belief that there's good emotions and bad emotions. And more often, when you sit with these emotions, things are revealed. And when I say sit, it's more like observing. When you sit with your emotions, I know for myself, I was trying to logically make sense of things like this emotion must mean this, or I ate this food and so this is why. No. I mean, that can help, but if you want to go deeper, it's just really about observing your emotions, what it feels like in your body, allowing yourself to experience that with the full awareness that you are observing. You're observing with curiosity, you're observing to see if something will be revealed at that moment, and also just releasing this idea of an outcome or expectation, like, oh, I'm going to get the answer. This journey is you're going to be met with so many paradoxes, and that's the point of life. And this is why you know, multiple truths are true and can exist. This is why we have to really learn how to not only understand our emotions. And when I say understand, there are two forms of understanding. One is, you know, logically connecting the dots so that you can understand what is happening, right? This is what I felt like I was doing in my son's life in the first couple of years. He's going to be 4 now. And I still do it, trying to make sense of why he's feeling this way. Oh, this happened, that, you know. That's one way of doing it, and that also serves. But to go deeper to connect that to your power, you have to go to the second version of understanding. That is understanding that, you know, what you are experiencing is a part of your technology. It's neither good or bad. And really, it's showing you the deeper undercurrent of what is moving you. You know, what is moving you to do this or that, or not to do this or that. And having so much compassion and knowing that, again, you're not the only person who is experiencing these things. You're not the only person feeling shame. You're not the only person who feels guilty for yelling at their kid. It's understanding that it's a you know, an experience that we all have, with also the knowing of wanting to expand, to do better, knowing that we have that potential to show up in a way that feels truly aligned. And so, lost my thought there. And so really, going back to this idea of, this is what I was going to say, we have to, because there's so many paradoxes, we have to really not only be friends with our emotions, but also get really used to being in the unknown, being in the uncertainty. That is something that I am not good at. And this is something that I have been practicing. And let me rephrase that. This is something, being in the uncertain and in the unknown is something that really challenges me, because I've operated so heavily in logically making sense of things and needing to know. And quite literally my body, like, you know, elicits that experience, or an experience, sensations, where I immediately connect to these thoughts of like, I need to do this and I need to do that. When you start to build that connection with your body, what I notice for myself is again, never about perfection, but just the awareness. But I notice how like my awareness becomes very fragmented, meaning sometimes I'm actually playing out the narrative or the story that no longer serves me, but with the full awareness and being in presence with that, knowing like, oh, this is a story that I used to play. That's part of the process. Because when you're able to actually feel that play out in real time, what it does to my awareness is that next time it naturally breathes space into those moments for me to integrate new actions. Before, when I was in that process, falling into the story, I wasn't in presence with it, I was judging it. And so therefore, when I was met with a similar experience of being in the uncertain, I would then react from the same story. And then I would judge it. And then guess what would happen next time I was feeling uncertain? The same thing. But when you can allow yourself to, you know, be in that story, but with that full awareness, like, oh, I'm playing out this story. Then you start to, it's almost like that the person who was experiencing it now is now seeing themselves as the experiencer. And that's what we are, experiencers of life. And when we become more attuned to that, the more we can actually create a life that feels in alignment with ourselves. That's when life feels fun, even through its obstacles. Like I am met through obstacles, and in the moment, it feels hard. It feels like a struggle. But like moments later, I'm like, oh my gosh, like, you know, that was an interesting experience. It either revealed to me, you know, the work that I've been doing and how I'm progressing. It revealed to me in so many ways how I can create a different story. Like it becomes that way. And I don't even have to like force myself to think of it that way. It just naturally comes. because we have this natural ability to connect with ourselves on that deeper level. It's just, again, about coming back home and reclaiming that seat. And, I want to talk about hate, resentment, anger, those intense emotions that separate us. So I had a moment, and I remember where I was feeling so angry after a fight. And I had that awareness, that fragmentation of awareness where I had already played out the story. And in the story, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm playing out this story. And after the fight ended, I could still feel that energy. So I was like, tell myself, I can still feel the anger in my body, but me and the other person, we were no longer talking. And as I was there in my body, in that moment, in the room with that person, I'm like, okay, I know that I can change this. I can change this experience to either, to reconnect with love, or I can just continue to prolong this experience of anger. And this was really interesting for me. And I feel like every time I had those moments, and I had a lot of those moments as I was doing the embodiment work and somatic work, these realizations. And so I was like, I'm going to choose love. I had to pep talk myself a little bit. There is a process where you're going to have to kind of talk to yourself and encourage yourself. And if it doesn't work, again, you want to allow yourself to unfold. You want to allow yourself to be revealed versus forcing, right? When we force anything, and I learned this so often from my son, when I force anything, I'm just met with more resistance until it blows up, right? And so it is about giving ourselves a space, honoring the space that we are in. And so I was like, okay, I'm going to just push myself a little bit to connect with love. And oh my God, the amount of tension that I felt in my body, because my body's like, no, this is unfamiliar. When you get into a fight, you have to wait a couple hours, maybe even a day, go to sleep and then wait. And I was like, no, we're going to do this. And then I sat down next to that person. I took a deep breath. The person looked at me and smiled. And once they smiled, I noticed how, again, the old story of they should still be angry. Again, I noticed that. Feeling that in my body, but having that awareness. And then I was like, okay. I hear that story. I feel that story. But I was like, let's take a moment. And I just smiled back. It wasn't easy. But what I was essentially doing is I was teaching my body it's okay to connect. It's okay to find these moments of joy. It's okay to love. That not everything needs to be perfect. Even if I get angry and I show up in a way that I did not prefer, it doesn't mean that I have to continue to prolong this experience of disconnection. Right? You want to connect. You want to come back. And so really choosing connection over disconnection is such a powerful tool. And to do that, you have to be so deeply connected with your body. And that's not through, again, giving your power away to a certain diet or ideology or anything like that. I really believe that power comes from just spending time with yourself. We are so quick to spend money on things to fix ourselves that, I'm just like, you are the answer. You have the ability to do this work for yourself. And it only feels hard is the only reason why it feels so hard. I can't even find my words. The only reason why it feels so hard is because our operating system has been tuned that way for so long. It's been passed down, and it's not only just reinforced into our, own lives, but, it's reinforced from the environment we grow up in societal, familial culture. And, just so much of that is just embedded in us, where wrong needs to be right. that we have to wait for this in order to give ourselves permission, that we can't connect unless, whatever, everything has to be perfect. But when we can just forget all that and just choose connection on whatever level that you can, even in a small way. Like I smiled, I probably could have just placed my hand and did a physical touch, but I was like, I don't think I want to go there now. I think smiling is good. But really just encouraging ourselves to connect more versus separating more. And that is really how you build that safety within yourself too, right? Because the more you do that, the more you're encouraging and also allowing yourself to experience that release, the softening. We have also been so conditioned to, especially if you're a mother or parent in general, conditioned to feel like we're not allowed to be happy unless our children are happy. I'm like, my son is here living his own life and he's going to learn his own lessons. And I can't, control every aspect of his life. The only thing that I can do is be here for him to make sure he is safe physically and emotionally as best as possible, but also allowing him to have his own experiences. Meaning like, yeah, if he throws a tantrum, doing my best to not let it strip me from my happiness, which is, again, some days I'm able to, some days I'm not, and giving ourselves that grace. The world does reflect your inner world, because the more I'm able to give myself grace, the more I am able to give him grace, the more I'm able to reconnect with him quickly. I notice how that directly connects to how I'm able to directly connect back in with myself. And you always know if you are connecting or not. The momentum that you're moving in. If you're moving fast, or if you're even just checking out, then you're not connecting. You're not connecting with yourself. You're not connecting with those around you. So that is all I wanted to share. That was on the top of my heart and mind. And, having such deep reverence for life, how life is this gift. It's an invitation, and you can do whatever you want with it, but how much more fun it is to be able to really experience the gift that it is. And to do that with yourself, feeling in alignment with who you truly are, which is a unique fractal being of God, holding so much beautiful gifts and experiences to share and create, not only with yourselves, but those around you. You matter, we all matter, and the more that we can embrace this idea of diversity in who we are, the more that we can see ourselves as whole within those differences and how we each play this different role. And the more that we can find the beauty within us, then we find that beauty in others. So I leave you with that message. Have a beautiful day, guys.